Hong Kong, I wrote an article on a popular regional media outlet entitled Domestic Helper, Prostitute, or Nurse, Living with a Filipina Stereotype. So I got a lot of hate mail for that. Some of the comments, it sucks coming from the upper class of a poor country that exports labor. Maybe you can dress in suits or some high-class clothing, Hermes handbags, if you hate that type of approach from men, see if there's any difference. But at least someone said, good to read. This article doesn't only represent stories of Filipino women, but sadly also represent lots of other women from Asian countries. I thought that spreading awareness was a good idea and a reasonable solution, but that was only addressing the symptoms of the issue, which is that, one, I come from a poor country, two, most of the people we export are women, and three, many of them fall under these stereotypes. And I forgot to include the mail order bride trope, which people thought we left behind in the 80s and 90s, but is still a thing today. I read an article about female role models a few years ago, which said that female role models increase women's willingness to participate in fields and compete in sports, and as well as in STEM positions. So I had a light bulb moment, realizing that I was trying to fight the perception this stereotype creates, but what if I approached it from a preventative point of view, which is to affect change from within, as in how can I use my journalism skills to address the issue of Filipino women becoming and reinforcing how we are stereotyped. I realized most Filipinos don't have role models outside of these stereotypes, but what if I can somehow bridge the gap and put them into contact with role models who have been successful in a variety of fields through a podcast. There are so many inspiring Filipinas that I know or can reach that can be exactly that, for millions of girls who wouldn't otherwise get exposure to such inspiring stories. And can we call this a niche? Well, there are 200,000 Filipinos in the UK, but they are the invisible minority. You don't hear about them. And there's been an article in the Times about that. There are actually 120 million Filipinos in the world, and we are the biggest social media users worldwide, which is like almost double the population of the UK, and there are 12 million of those abroad, and there are around 58 million Filipino women alive today. So would we still call that a niche? Thank you. This is my trailer.
Ask any girl in the Philippines what she wants to be when she grows up, and the answers will be the same. Beauty queen, air hostess, or TikTok influencer nowadays. Many will end up becoming nurses, caregivers, or domestic helpers. But what if more of those 58 million Filipino women were given different role models to look up to when they were growing up? I was lucky enough to have been raised by career women to guide me. But most girls in the Philippines didn't have that. According to research, role models matter, and particularly so for women. It's hard to be what we cannot see, wrote Dr. Nina Ansari in Anonymous is a Woman. This is Filipina will be a podcast bringing Philippine-born role models to the ears of millions of young Filipino women, both in the country and abroad, who more often than not will not have direct exposure to female leaders who started out just like them. I will interview the likes of Camille Gomez-Green, named by Forbes as one of Spain's top CEOs, and Frances Samantha Ledesma, a Manila-born medical doctor who worked at the Royal College of Surgeons of England. The conversations will touch not only on career journeys, but also strategies on dealing with stereotypes, overcoming challenges, advice, and navigating tricky cultural and societal situations. It will also highlight Filipino music and arts as introduced by the interviewees themselves, as well as celebrate the best aspects of being a Filipino woman in today's day and age. This is Filipina, the podcast, will be produced in collaboration with Tineg UK, a non-profit community website that aims to elevate the profile of Filipinos in Britain and empower them through reliable information and advice.
I thought it was really interesting. Thank you for sharing. And I think that that blend of aspiration and inspiration is a really interesting way of doing it. By talking to prominent people that have achieved amazing things to inspire young Filipino women. My one question would be, what language diaspora audiences that say in the UK that maybe speak English or back home, because I think, and maybe there's a way that you can incorporate both. That's something that I think is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would love to do mainly in English, but have just a little bit of like a bilingual element to it. But it would be explained because yeah, there is a huge diaspora, and I also want it to be like accessible to people like in the UK who are like kind of lost touch with their language. Yeah.
I also think it was an incredibly engaging pitch. I think the way that you talk and the way that you laid out the facts, you had my attention the whole way through, so I thought it was
And when you put the slides, I thought,
Mm.
okay, great, thank you very much.